Just over a week ago, we'll have a slight change of pace now, a brief moment away from politics, but still, nonetheless, a serious issue. And just over a week ago, a young Sydney man died from heat exhaustion after spending his first day in a new job installing insulation after the federal government's economic stimulus and energy efficiency program. It's the third reported death linked to the program, prompting calls from the opposition, so I guess it is still political, and the Australian Council of Trade Unions for a halt to the scheme until safety standards have been improved. But the government says, although any deaths are regrettable, the insulation program has the highest safety requirements ever imposed and will be judged by history as one of the nation's most effective energy efficiency measures. Matt Peacock reports.
We're close to 750,000 houses. It's the biggest energy efficiency program that we've ever seen.
Across the country, the federal government's spending nearly $2.5 billion on home insulation, a massive program to stimulate the economy and reduce energy consumption. Suddenly it's boom time for insulators as householders scramble for the government rebate.
The government had $1,600 and we always thought about it, but then when that came along, so we get it done, and I'm very happy with that.
You've got hundreds of operators who suddenly decided they would become pink bat installers overnight, and they're dodgy.
This week, the ACTU joined a growing chorus of warnings that the industry must be more tightly regulated.
I've actually had a call from the hospital saying, he's being moved to intensive care, you should make your way down here. And I guess it's a numb, you think dehydration, give him some water, it's going to be okay.
The union call follows the death of 19-year-old Sydney insulation worker Marcus Wilson, who died from heat exhaustion after his first day on the job.
He would have just kept going, but someone had to tell him, to stop, and they didn't. But yeah, I do think he was a hard worker, and I can imagine, I don't know, but I can imagine he just didn't want to stop and feel, he wanted to be manly and, just keep going.
On a hot day, the temperature in a roof cavity soars.
You might have a nice comfortable living room, 21, 22 degrees in the summertime. Up in the ceiling in the summertime it might be 50, 60 degrees.
Electrician Mark Jensen believes that heat isn't the only hazard facing untrained insulators.
I've actually found a connection box that was actually smouldering. It was quite charcoal when I got there. I have an electrical cable that was sitting on top of the gyprock under the insulation that somebody had actually put a screw through, and it was still alive, burning.
I think it's just a make money scheme, basically. Get any workers you can in there, experienced or not. Just get them in there, get your money's worth out of them. Who cares about the workers? And unfortunately, it did take the death of my brother, but I want someone responsible for this. And I think the government needs to wake up and just start taking action.
At least 2 other fatalities have occurred under the insulation rollout, prompting a Senate inquiry.
We've had 3 deaths of young men in our roofs under the home insulation program. It's time that the program is suspended immediately, pending a full, urgent federal inquiry.
In relation to those few but very regrettable and terrible fatalities, I want to wait and see what the outcome of the investigations is, and until that time I don't propose to say anything else about that, except that we take safety very seriously. It's a priority for the government. It always has been.
Critics say the government was warned before the scheme started that more stringent safeguards should be put in place, particularly better training of the workers involved.
So they're laying these pink bats, or these insulation bats, and they're really covering anything that could be defective. They're covering the cabling, the light fittings, and there's a simple solution, and that is before the insulation goes down, make sure the ceiling space is safe.
Otherwise
you're going to have an inferno.
In New South Wales, the program's blamed for a dramatic increase in household fires.
25 fires in ceilings last year and 49 this year so far, and we're looking at probably 1 or 2 or 3 a week, so we're looking at being well over double what we normally would have.
Peter Garrett was warned that there would be risks to installers as well as of ceiling fires under this program. Forewarned, forearmed, and yet we know that there has been inadequate response.
The federal government does conduct spot inspections of insulation, 6,000 so far, with almost double that by the year's end. Compulsory training is now also to be introduced by Minister Peter Garrett, a move that's placated the ACTU.
We will make announcements which provide for mandatory training provisions for anybody who's involved in this program.
The Minister has acted. People's lives shouldn't be at risk, but so too shouldn't the nature of the job be put at risk because we've got dodgy operators in the industry.
There seems little doubt of the environmental benefits of the scheme, saving an estimated 30 million tonnes of CO2 by 2020 and saving householders the costs of air conditioning.
I just couldn't believe it, I mean, because it was that hot outside, and I came inside, was like, I had the air conditioner.
The government's proposing to publicly name and shame contractors who breach its guidelines.
I don't want to see anybody taking advantage of this program now or in the future, and they won't be able to.
I'm angry. I know the insulation scheme that the government is doing at the moment. I think it's cost too many lives. This hasn't been the first, and I just wonder when it's going to, how long does it have to go on before someone wakes up and does something about it?
That report from Matt Peacock, and we should add that the insulators who featured in Matt's story were professional operators following appropriate safety procedures. That's the program for tonight.